I'm Matt Bouchard with NAREIT's REIT.com here in Reston, Virginia for the 2015 Leader in the Light Working Forum. Joining me is Sukanya Paciorek, Senior Vice President of Corporate Sustainability with Vornado Realty Trust. Sukanya, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, your company's received a number of accolades for its sustainability efforts, including the 2014 Leader in the Light Award in the Diversified category. And there's so many companies that are trying to get to the level of where Vornado is. But what is the challenge and the key to sort of maintaining that momentum and building on an already successful sustainability program?
Our approach to it from the very beginning has been to walk the walk before we start talking the talk. So I think we took several years at the front end to think about what our priorities are and what our goals were, and start to look internally on what we wanted to change within the organization, how we wanted to impact those things before we ever started talking about it publicly and before we ever started applying for awards. So, I think for organizations that are thinking about kind of that ultimate goal of, thinking about these, these awards and these communication platforms and kind of the public face of it, the real opportunity is to make change within the organization. It's to think about things about, what is material to your organization as it relates to sustainability? What does energy efficiency look like within your organization? Is there a way to build really a culture and a deep awareness of those goals, and then make that part of the overall kind of day-to-day of everyone? It's not just about having a sustainability person in the organization. It's really about changing the way that you do business and thinking about this as part of your business.
And there's been a greater connection made between buildings and the health of its tenants. Is this something that Vornado monitors, and are tenants concerned about this? And does it give sustainability conscious landlords like Vornado an edge?
Well, I'll tell you that, in our portfolio, and now that we've spun off our retail division, we're primarily an office company now, and in the markets that we're in, New York and in DC, we see major tenants coming to these markets as asking for sustainability as one of the kind of short list of criteria that they're looking for. So I think tenants are paying more and more attention to this issue, and it's really now, a transactional leasing issue on the front end. So they're asking for things like LEED and, what is the Energy Star score of the building, kind of those metrics that they know enough about to ask about. And I think right behind that, and I think kind of where we've been in the last 10 years on green buildings is kind of the next frontier is healthy buildings, and thinking about what it is in our buildings. We're talking about what is the material stuff in our building, not just materials, but what is material as it relates to healthy buildings. We know that air quality is a huge issue, and that's something that we take very, very seriously in our portfolio. We know that the type of materials that we're putting in our buildings is really important. We know that the type of space that we're building is really important. We know that lighting is important. We know that outside, kind of the access to outside light is important, and daylight is important. But there are lots and lots of factors that really contribute to what a healthy building is. And I think that market is just now developing. I think there are new standards emerging, and we see that as the next frontier in terms of what we're offering.
And lastly, another topic here at the Working Forum has to do with uniform reporting standards for sustainability. From your perspective, what are the challenges and also the opportunities that this would bring?
So on the positive end of reporting, there's a standardization that happens that allows me to kind of compare myself against a peer group to know what I'm doing well and where I need to improve, and which I think is good for everyone. I think competition is really good for everyone in that regard, because it's all very positive stuff. We're all moving in a direction that's good for the environment and our companies. I think on the flip side, I think the caution that we see in terms of these reporting mechanisms is kind of the proliferation of them, right? There are dozens of them now, and everybody has a different kind of tack to it. So I think, in terms of where I sit, I think the most important thing that we will do going forward, and we certainly did it last year, but we'll do it going forward, is to represent what we think is material in our business as it relates to energy efficiency and sustainability directly to our investors, and do that through a sustainability report that talks about the metrics that we think are material, to showcase some of the best programs that we have, and really talk about our strategy and goals so that people understand where we've been and where we're going.
Thank you so much for your insights.
Thanks so much for having me.
Great. For more on this and other REIT news and analysis, be sure to visit REIT.com.